Yes, so we'll start with social issues discussion now. Social issues question first, question number 8. The question says, distinguish between gender equality, gender equity, and women empowerment. You have to tell the difference between these three terms. And then you have to say that why it is important for the state to take gender concerns into account while it is designing policies and programs. So the answer is quite simple. In the introduction, you can start with defining the concepts like what is gender equality, gender equity, and gender empowerment. So, what is gender equality? Treating men and women equally, providing them equality of opportunity, or the state will not discriminate based on the basis of gender. So, this is gender equality. Then gender equity is state can take some positive measures. Positive state can go for positive discrimination for women. For example, state can run special welfare schemes for women. State can provide reservations to women because women have suffered historic discrimination. That is why state can take some special measures for women. So this concept of positive discrimination is gender equity. Treating everyone equally is gender equality. Women empowerment is making women self-dependent or making women financially independent. And if she becomes financially independent, we have to reduce her dependence on males. So if women empowerment means women dependence on males get reduced, and that will happen when woman is financially independent. So the first part of the question we have answered, what is gender equality, gender equity, and women empowerment. We have told the difference. You can also write one statement that gender equity is a means to achieve the goal of gender equality. And when gender equality is achieved, we will achieve the goal of women empowerment. You can write like this also. So this you can write in introduction. Then we move to body. Now body says, why is it important to take gender concerns into account? So in the body you will answer what is asked. The question says why gender concerns are important while designing welfare schemes. So gender concerns are important because women have suffered historic discrimination in the past where men and women are not treated equally. So you can say that the institutional patriarchy gives preference to men over women. So if government is launching schemes, most of the benefit of the welfare schemes will be taken by men. Women will again be left behind. So schemes don't reach women. It has been found that for the majority of the schemes, the major beneficiaries are men. So what happened was the government said that we need to create a special component for women also, which will specifically cater to women only. So that is why the government also, you might have heard, introduced the concept of gender budgeting. And what else the government is doing? The government is reserving some percentage of funds in each welfare schemes which should be used only for women. For example, government is running a scheme called Deen Dayal Upadhyay Gramin Kaushal Yojana, in which rural youth would be trained in a particular skill of their choice, but 1/3 of the rural youth who will receive training will be women. So women is given priority in government schemes so that women also become part of the development process of the country. Otherwise, because of historic discrimination, they will always remain backward. So this is what the question is saying. So the keywords here that you can use, that you should keep in mind is historic discrimination, gender budgeting, the scheme's benefit should reach women, and we have to achieve the goal of gender equality. So like this, you can write a short answer. There is no need for solution in this question. Next. The next question is question number 9. Question number 9 says, inter-caste marriages between caste which have socio-economic parity have increased to some extent, but this is less true for inter-religious marriages. Discuss. So the question says that what has now started is inter-caste marriages between the caste. Upper caste are marrying within themselves. For example, Brahmins are getting married with Kshatriyas, Kshatriyas getting married with Vaishyas. Within upper caste, people having same socio-economic status are going for inter-caste marriages. But it is less true for interreligious. The question says inter-caste marriages have still increased, but it is not happening for interreligious marriages. So the question says discuss. You have to write the reasons why this is not happening. So again, what we can say here is that India has seen traditional practice of endogamy. In the introduction, we can say India has seen traditional practice of endogamy. Endogamy means people used to prefer to marry within their caste. However, in recent times, the number of intercaste marriages have changed. Number of intercaste marriages have increased, and this is mainly happening between people of the same class who comes from same economic background. But why? The question says why this is not happening. Why this practice, like it has started, like people have started going for intercaste marriage, why it is not happening in case of religion? So we can say that why it is not happening in case of religion, because in India, customs of one religion are very different from the custom of other religion. For example, custom of Muslims are very different from the custom of Hindus. It will be very difficult for it will be very difficult for the girl or the boy to adjust with the religious customs of the other religion. But if you marry within the caste, then you also have to say that if you marry within the caste, then it is quite, if you marry within the Hindus, maybe in the other caste, the customs are almost same. So people adjust to the similar people don't have to face the challenge of having different customs in other religion. Moreover, in India, intercaste religion is seen most as a communal issue because of issues like love jihad, religious conversions happening in India. We see it in news. So therefore, people are afraid to go for interreligious marriages. Then law is also not very supportive. There are many provisions in Special Marriage Act which which make the registration of intercaste marriages very difficult. Then in the country there is no uniform civil code which ease intercaste marriages, while which is interreligious marriages. There is no uniform civil code. So if interreligious marriages cannot be registered at ease, people tend to avoid it. But people tend to go for intercaste marriages because all registration of the marriages will happen under Hindu Marriage Act only. So these are the reasons which you can quote in your answer that why interreligious marriages are not happening, but intercaste marriages are happening. So it is also again a very simple and a short question, nothing much, no need for writing conclusion here. Or in conclusion, if you want, you can write in the conclusion that the government should bring uniform civil code. This will reduce the differences between customs of every religion. And the government should also bring changes in Special Marriage Act and make it more convenient to register interreligious marriages. You can write this in the conclusion. Question number 10 is, in dealing with socio-economic issues of development, what kind of collaboration between government, NGOs and private sector would be most productive? Now you can say that development has now become a very complex issue. Since development has now become a complex issue, there needs to be collaboration between government, state and the private sector. Now, how in the introduction you can say, how has it become a complex issue? Development has become a complex issue because now development is not only related to economic development, it concerns with social development also. Social development means development should be inclusive, development should be sustainable, like this. Development should reach everyone, inclusive, especially development should reach the vulnerable sections, SC, ST, women, child, disabled. Sustainable means it should be environment friendly. So development has become a very complex process in which all three needs to play a very important role, state, market as well as NGOs. So what is the collaboration between the three? Now see, in the development process of the country, these are the three actors, state, market and NGOs. Now till 1991, state was the only actor in the development process. Everything was under the control of state. But after 1991, we allowed the market to operate. But market is capitalist and therefore it works only to generate profit. So market has started catering to rich people. So after 1991, rich are catered by market and poor vulnerable sections are catered by the state. So there has been a kind of what is known as division of labor. Market will cater to rich, state will cater to vulnerable section. Now the question is how state will cater to vulnerable sections? By launching multiple welfare schemes. And to run these welfare schemes, the state need resources. But the problem with the state is the state lacks resources. So therefore the state is not able to reach every section of the society, or state is not able to reach weakest of the weak sections of society. So to reach the weakest of the weak section or to reach the weaker sections which have been left by the state comes the NGO. So NGO is filling the gaps left by the state. So what gaps are filled by the NGO? Areas where state has not been able to reach. For example, state has not been able to work towards the welfare of transgenders, disabled much. Then areas where state often lack resources. For example, during disaster management, education, health sector, the state often lacks resources. The state is not able to reach everyone. So that gap can be filled by NGOs. So what can happen between the three is there has been a clear division of labor. Market will take care of rich, state will take care of vulnerable section, and the areas which are left by the state will be taken care of by NGOs. So this kind of collaboration between state, government and the NGO can help in the complex process of development. So you can write this answer. Simple. The keyword here will be division of labor between state, market and NGOs. The next question is question number 17. Question number 17 says, what is a regional disparity? How does it differ from diversity? How serious is the issue of regional disparity in India? So in introduction, you can write what is regional disparity? How is it different from diversity? So regional disparity has more to do with uneven economic growth of different regions in the country. Diversity is more related to cultural aspect. It has nothing to do with economic aspect of the region. And how serious is the issue of regional disparity in India? To see how we can write this answer, in the introduction we can say, what is regional disparity? Regional disparity is uneven economic growth. It is more related to economic growth, uneven economic growth across different regions. Or not only economic, you can also say there has been an uneven population growth also across different regions, which has brought regional disparities. For example, there is disparity between north and south. So if you look at India, the North Indian states are still very agrarian while South Indian states have industrialized. So South Indian states are more prosperous as compared to North Indian states. Then there is rural-urban divide in India, rural-urban regional disparities. Then we can also say that there is disparity between green revolution states and non-green revolution states. So this we explain that there is regional disparities. Population wise, if you see, population control has not happened, population control measures have not been very successful in north, but they have been very successful in south. Similar, there is regional disparity in population with respect to rural-urban. Rural areas, population control has been less successful. Urban areas, population control is much higher. Green revolution states versus non-green revolution state is only about economic disparities. Then diversity is, cultural difference. It doesn't talk about economic difference. Diversity, cultural aspects like racial difference, linguistic difference, ethnic difference, tribal difference. More of cultural aspect, nothing to do with uneven growth or uneven economic growth of the areas. Uneven economic growth is regional disparity. So in the first part, introduction, you have told what is regional disparity and what is diversity and how they are different. You have told it. Then you can say what are the issues because of regional disparities in India. So regional disparities की वजह से क्या issues हैं? There is, because of north-south divide, there is migration from north to southern states, which has led to problem of regionalism in southern states. You might have heard of sons of the soil, especially in southern states like Karnataka, Tamil Nadu. Then rural-urban divide, there is migration to urban areas from rural areas, which create urbanization issues like urban poverty. It puts pressure on urban infrastructure. It creates birth of slums in urban areas. Then when the migration happens from non-GR states to GR states, there is labor exploitation. So non-green revolution states like MP, Bihar, Eastern UP. So when there is migration to green states like Punjab, Haryana, Western UP, there is exploitation of labor. They are paid very low wages. Then movement from agrarian states to industrialized states like Maharashtra and Gujarat. Again, there is problem of regionalism in these states. Regionalism means locals develop feeling of hatred towards outsiders. So all these issues are because of what is known as regional disparities. Now in the solution you can write how to solve the issue of regional disparities. States should take measures to promote inclusive growth, target uneven population growth, especially in North Indian states. Population control measures should be made more successful. Then aspirational district programs should be run. Urban schemes like providing urban-like infrastructure and skill development facilities in rural areas, so that there is no migration from rural. There is controlled migration from rural to urban areas. Like this you can write and conclude your answer. Then we have question number 18. Question number 18 says, despite comprehensive policies for equity and social justice, underprivileged section are not getting the full benefits of affirmative action envisaged in the Constitution comment. Now the Constitution says that state can take affirmative actions for the vulnerable sections of society. So you can write in the introduction that as per Article 15 of 4, 16 of 4 and Article 15 of 5, the Constitution allows the state to make special provisions for backward sections of the society, which include SC, ST, OBCs, and even for women and children. So in the special provisions, what the state is doing, state is taking many affirmative actions like giving reservation to these backward sections of society in public employment and higher education. Then reservation is also given in elections to SCs and STs, and from next election onwards, reservation, 1/3 reservation would also be given to women. Then as per special provisions, the government is also running welfare schemes for SCs and STs. OBCs also, the government is running welfare schemes for women also. And all these measures the state can take because the Constitution allows them to allows the state to make special provisions for them. So these special provisions are of two types: affirmative action and running welfare schemes for SCs and STs. So now in the introduction you have said that yes, the Constitution envisaged taking affirmative actions for the backward sections of the society. Now the question says, in the body you will write that in spite of these measures, in spite of affirmative actions and welfare schemes, the benefit is not reaching the last mile. That is, benefit is not reaching the weakest of the weak sections of the society. For example, within OBCs, there are more backward classes and extremely backward classes who are not able to take the benefit of reservation. Similarly, in SCs, There are Dalit haves and Dalit have-nots. Dalit haves are those who have taken the benefit of reservation already, or those who have become Dalit entrepreneurs. So Dalit haves are taking away all the benefits. The benefits are not reaching Dalit have-nots. Similarly, within tribes also, there are more backward tribes within tribes which are called as PVTGs. So what we are trying to say here is that the welfare schemes, the benefit of the welfare schemes are taken away by better off sections within the backward sections, जो थोड़े से बेहतर हैं within backward. For example, Dalit haves are better, creamy layer within OBCs are better. Then some tribes are more forward than other tribes. They take away all the benefit of reservation, they take away all the benefit of government schemes. So what the government has to do is, government has to make these welfare schemes and reservation system more effective. How can government do so? How can state do so? Government should go for sub-classification of SCs and SGs. What is sub-classification? Government should evolve a scheme for identifying more backward classes and extremely backward classes within OBCs, SCs and SGs. Then government should allow introduction of government should bring creamy layer for SCs and SGs just like they are there for OBCs. So इन सारे measures से क्या होगा, जो better off section है, they will be removed from the benefit of these schemes. And government can also reserve some funds within the welfare schemes for more backward classes. So government will say, government can run some schemes exclusively for extremely backward classes, more backward classes, for more backward scheduled caste, like this. So government can make the welfare schemes very effective also through these measures. So you can conclude your answer by saying these measures. Then the next question, question number 19. Question number 19 says that globalization has increased urban migration of skilled young and unmarried women from various classes. How has this trend impacted upon their personal freedom and relationship with the family? So in this question, we can say that globalization has led to birth of MNCs, IT companies, service sector, and because of birth of MNCs, IT companies, and service sectors, there has been lot of job opportunities. Birth of MNCs, IT companies. This you can write in the introduction. And these job opportunities in urban areas has led to migration of young people. Now migration of young people is of two types: migration from rural to urban and migration from urban to urban. Migration from urban to urban is migration from tier 2, tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 cities to tier 1 cities. Tier 1 cities are also called metro cities: Delhi, Calcutta, Chennai, Mumbai, Surat, Ahmedabad, like this. From tier 2 cities and tier 3 cities, there has been migration from urban to urban areas. So the question now specifically says that globalization has increased urban migration by skilled young unmarried women from various classes. So we can say that rural to urban migration has mainly happened for lower class women. Urban to urban migration has happened for middle class women. Now the lower class women in urban areas are doing low end jobs. They are doing low end jobs in the service sector. For example, they are working in call centers, they are working in in showrooms, they have become street vendors. So low end jobs done by lower class women from rural to urban areas, and urban to urban areas is mainly middle class woman who is skilled. So she is working mostly in MNCs, IT companies. You can also say that these lower class women from rural to urban is serving the middle class women who have migrated from urban to urban. So like this, like this you can say that globalization has led to migration of young skilled women from urban to urban areas. Now the question says how this migration has impacted personal freedom and relationship with the family. Now personal freedom has increased, more individualism has come up, personal choices of the women have increased, women are now taking independent decisions, and all this she is able to do. The personal freedom has increased because women has gained financial freedom, and also there is delay in age of marriage. The decisions personal freedom आने की वजह से there is delay in age of marriage and reproduction also. Then how has it impacted family relation? Family relations have become distant. They have become distant from the family, yet connect. They feel isolated and alienated because suddenly they have come in urban areas. So urban area life is more isolated and alienated. Then they also try to balance out their work and their family obligations. They are stuck up under the dual obligations of their family and work. Then they have also found new family relations at workplace. They also consider PG as their new family. So because of these new relationship at workplace and coming up of PG as the new family, the relationship with the home family, the relationship with the family from where they come has certainly declined over the period of time. It has become more distant. So you can use this keyword to write. So this is what is the impact of migration of young women, and the personal liberty has increased and family relation have become more distant. You can write answer like this. There is no need to write any conclusion in this answer. Only what is asked, you have answered it. Then question number 20. Question number 20 is a bit tough question. Critically analyze the proposition that there is high correlation between India's cultural diversity and socio-economic marginalities. So first I'll show you the question. So the question says, the keyword is critically analyze the proposition that high correlation between India's cultural diversity and socio-economic marginalization. So question says that it is a general perception that those who are minorities, cultural minorities in India, they are socially marginalized. The question says, do you agree with this statement? You critically analyze it. So critical analysis means you have to write points that this statement is not true. So how will you write it? So you can say in the introduction that India is a very culturally diverse country, religiously diverse, linguistically diverse, racially diverse, and ethnically diverse. Then you can say that the general perception is the minorities among these diverse groups, religious minority, linguistic minority, backward caste, ethnic minorities like Gorkhas, Bodos. So ethnic minorities are marginalized. Is it true? To an extent, it is true. You can say that. For example, Sachar committee said that Muslims are the most economically backward sections of society. They live in ghettos. They do informal, low-paying work. Then there have also been instances of marginalization of, ethnic marginalization of Gorkhas. We have seen ethnic marginalization of Bodos in Assam. Then also we have seen instances of racial discrimination in racial discrimination of northeastern students in North Indian cities. So like this we see that there has been some kind of discrimination. Because of this, a perception has been formed that the culturally diverse minorities are suffering discrimination or marginalization. Now we have to say that, now we have to critically analyze whether this is true or not. So in the body we can write, however, this is not always true. State is taking many welfare measures for minorities, backward caste and tribes, and try to reduce their marginalization. Then there is regional variation in dominance of minority groups. Like in J&K, Muslims are dominant, Hindus are not. In Punjab, Sikh are dominant. In northeastern states, there is racial superiority of northeastern people. So there are regional variations. So this statement is not always true that the minorities are always marginalized. They are marginalized as per their region. Then many minority groups are economically very well off, like Parsis are very economically well off, Sikh are very economically well off. Then you can also say that state has taken many positive discrimination or affirmative actions to uplift the backward caste in India. So yet they are not yet marginalized. Then state has taken, state has also given protection to religious minorities and their religious properties, like the recent Waqf board. So Waqf Act has given a lot of protection to religious minorities. So you can say that in the conclusion, you can say that this perception is not true. Though it looks like the minority groups are marginalized, but it is not true. The state has taken many measures to reduce their marginalization. So that's all for the discussion of social issues. Thank you.